All right, the very first thing I do is give the hair a good brush to get all the tangles out and all the knots out so I've got a smooth surface to work with. Now I'm going to take my braiding comb, which looks like this, and I'm going to do a centre part in the middle of her head. Okay, different angle, still parting her hair. You can see here that I'm having a little bit of trouble getting it to go where it needs to go. So in a minute, you'll see me grab a little spray bottle of water, and I find that parting it when it's wet just makes it so much easier. It doesn't need to be sopping wet. I find it easier to braid dry hair, but I find it easier to part wet hair. So I just put a little bit of water on the part so it's easier to get it to stay where I want it to be. Once I've got my part done, I put one side into a ponytail just to get it out of the way. Okay, here you can see I'm about to use my wax stick. I love these because I find it so much easier to grip hair that's a little bit waxy, a little bit greasy. And I find that by using this wax stick all over her head before I start braiding it, that when I do braid it, not only is it easier to braid, but it just stays in place and it has a lot less flyaways. Now just brushing the wax through so it's easier to work with. Okay, now I'm going to use my braiding comb to pick up a really small section of hair at the front and split it into 3 equal sections. You can see that I really don't want much hair to start with. The smaller you start, the tighter it is, and you just want the child to tip their head back towards you. Now, in a minute, you're going to get a better video angle, but with my 3 equal sections, I do one normal plait with each strand by tucking it underneath the hair in the centre. So the one on the outside on the right gets tucked under the hair in the centre, and then the one on the outside on the left gets tucked under the hair in the centre. And then I start to add little bits of hair in each time, but don't add too much. The smaller the hair, the easier it is to work with. You want to make sure you're taking hair from the very front and then work your way back. And you can see here that I'm just giving a little finger comb, and then I bring in my actual comb just to make sure that the hair I'm adding in is smooth so I don't get bobbles. You can see here I'm using the comb to add the hair in. Just around the ear, it's like the spot that I find gets the most bobbles. So by using the comb to add the hair, it just is a bit neater. Once I've braided around the ear, I add a little bit more wax to it because this is a section that has lots of flyaways. Once you get to this section here, you want the dancer or the child to put their head down. There we go. Grace puts her head down because that makes it easier to get the hair. So when you're braiding this section, you want to make sure the hair is as close to you're braiding as close to the scalp and as tight as possible so you don't get bumpy bits underneath. Look for this hairstyle, the bumpy bits underneath don't matter too much, so you can see in a minute that there are bumpy bits underneath because I wasn't super careful because I knew we were going to put it into a bun. Same with, I'm not braiding all the way to the end of the hair. I'm tying it off here because there's no need to braid all the way if you're going to put it into a bun. And just here I'm adding a little bit of mousse just to prevent any flyaways or fluffiness. Okay. Now I'm going to repeat this entire process on the other side. I'm hoping that the camera angle this time is a little bit better. So again, we get a little section at the front, not too much, it just needs to be really small, and then we split that section into 3 equal parts. So we're adding a small bit of hair into each side piece and then tucking the side piece under the centerpiece, one side piece at a time. And I'm just brushing it all to get it really smooth. So once I pick up a bit of hair on the side, I will use my comb to get it in, and then I'll use my fingers or the comb just to make sure that I brush any extra hair away. See there? So you don't pick up extra hair because that's when it gets messy. So here I'm doing a weird thing with my finger, but I'm just showing you that I want the braid to be away from the scalp, not too close to the scalp. So you want the braid to be kind of on the side of the head. I'll show you a picture at the end of the video as to what I mean by this. So you can see here in this little side piece I've picked up, it's all bobbly. So I readjust my grip to make sure I'm not letting go of any hair, and I use the comb to just smooth that bit of hair out. Hi, friends.
Yes. Hi, what are you doing on Braids?
I'm doing a hair tutorial so that parents can watch it and learn how to do hair for competitions if they would like to learn.
Mum already knows how to do that. I don't know.
Does she?
That. Yeah, my mum does that to me like some on like weekends.
Does she?
To sleep in.
Because it makes your hair wavy.
Or it just like keeps your hair in place. And it do you want to do my hair?
Do I want to do your hair?
Yeah.
We don't have time. Hey, Layla.
Grace getting a little bit bored there. What is all this stuff?
This is like my whole like comp stuff that I take the comp's head down, Gracie. I just grabbed the whole bag, so I was in a hurry.
Oh, it's cold. Do you know what boys say in our school now? They say, "Ooh, that's cold." Yeah, whenever like the teacher says.
Head right down. Grace is doing a solo tonight. That's why we're doing her hair. She's got to go on stage.
Like what?
I'm joking.
She's going on a solo. You didn't tell us.
All right, now the braids are done, I'm just going to add the two plaits into a ponytail and use a thick elastic to hold them in place. I didn't have a thick elastic, so I'm using two thin ones. Take the elastics out and take the plaits out. Now you'll see I grab a bun net. These are super cheap from the supermarket. You get like a pack of 3 for a couple of dollars. Ideally, you want them to match your child's hair. And then I get the bun pins, which are quite thick. You'll see them. And then I get mousse, and I add mousse to the ponytail because, oh my gosh, it is so much easier to do a bun if the hair is coated in mousse. And then I wrap it around like a little twist, and I add the bun net to it, and I try to make sure there's no little bits that are outside of the bun net. I try to make sure all the hair is in the bun net. So then I've got my bun. I wrap it around 2 or 3 times, depending on how thick the hair is. Come in with my bun pins, which are thicker than normal pins, or wider, I guess. And I make sure I put a pin everywhere, the entire way around the bun. You can kind of see how I'm sticking it in. Now I get her to give her head a good shake up and down, side to side, add some hairspray just to make sure it's all secure. We actually found that by the end of her lesson, her bun was falling out. So the more pins, the better. I should have added more pins to this. You can see in this picture that one braid is closer to her scalp than the other. Ideally, I want it to be closer to the ear than the scalp, or like somewhere like a nice like halfway point. But do your best, and if you keep practicing, it'll get better.